This instructional video will help you learn and master each movement before advancing to the follow-along version. Pause and rewind often, and move on only when you feel confident.
Hi, welcome to Primal 7's Flexibility Series. I'm Jenna Ellis, physical therapist for Primal 7. This series is all about flexibility and mobility, taking some time to give some TLC to your muscles and your joints after you've been working hard on a regular basis. Being flexible is an important part of exercise, as it will help you achieve optimal length of your muscles. When we don't have full length of certain muscles, we can't go through normal movement or mobility, and we end up shorting ourselves during that action. Let's take a closer look at the difference between flexibility and mobility, and how they play hand in hand with each other. First, let's take a look at mobility. Mobility is defined as the ability of a joint to move actively or passively through a certain range of motion. Think of mobility as an action such as a squat. Mobility is actually more important prior to exercise, as it helps wake the body up. Think motion is lotion. If you've ever stopped to consider how a warm-up impacts your workout, consider this. Think about going into a workout when it's really cold outside, no warm-up at all. Your body's going to have a really difficult time getting into all the movements. You won't be able to go through your full range of motion, and you'll feel pretty stiff. Now, think about going into that same workout, but with a warm-up, with lunges, squats, hip circles, arm circles, and leg circles. Your body will be much more able to get into these exercises now, and your muscles will be ready to take whatever you throw at them. This helps prime the body before going full speed ahead in a workout. Now, on the other hand, let's look at flexibility. Flexibility is defined as the ability of a group of muscles or muscle to go passively through a certain range of motion. This is best done post-exercise. Without getting into too much science of it, think of a static stretch as gently lulling a muscle to sleep. Now that you know this, you wouldn't want your muscles to be asleep before you go to squat, do an exercise, or sprint. Let's look at a few examples of flexibility. A classic example is a hamstring stretch, where you lay flat on your back and you use a strap or a band to gently pull your leg up straight until you feel a stretch. Another is using a doorway or rings to open up your chest muscles. Now, let's look at how flexibility impacts mobility. Take, for example, your hamstrings. If you have tightness in your hamstrings, it will be much more difficult to bend over and tie your shoes. Or take, for example, tightness of your hips. If you have tightness in your hips, you're going to have a much more difficult time getting below parallel on a squat. And finally, think about our beautiful high heels that a lot of our ladies love to wear. If you wear high heels day in and day out over the years, your calf muscles will tend to tighten up and shorten, preventing you from getting your heels all the way flat on the floor in a downward dog position, or even worse, having difficulty walking barefoot or in sandals. One can now see that these two work hand in hand to give us a more well-rounded exercise experience. In this series, we'll be using static stretching and active mobility exercises. You can use this as a supplement to your workouts, or use it on a rest day to help relieve any tightness or soreness that you may be experiencing. One final word on flexibility and mobility. It will not happen overnight. You might feel a little bit looser after doing one video, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. Being consistent with flexibility and stretching will help you over a long period of time get the results you want. In this series, we have a gentle full body video, an upper body video, a lower body video, and a spine video. Feel free to use these whenever you'd like, and visit them often. If you need to hold a certain exercise for a little bit longer, or get into a position for a little bit longer and hold more, feel free to do so. Now, let's get started.